Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of To Whom It May Concern. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say, making an official statement, we are actually back.
Probably.
We are actually back this time. Probably. We've been gone for a while. We're aware of that fact.
He pointed out to me at the beginning. He was like, I find it funny how the last episode we recorded was like 4 months ago, and the title of the episode was "We're Back."
Yep. After that, it just kind of fell apart. I don't know what else to say.
Yep.
I think college was bearing down on me a little too much, and on top of that, we were just running out of ideas. We were running out of things to talk about. I think our biggest, the thing that killed us the most was making this a weekly thing. I think we haven't really talked about what to do from here on out. As usual, I just kind of like jumped forward.
As usual, he just gave me a call and said, "Hey, Steven, you want to record a podcast?"
4 months after the last one?
Yeah.
So now what I'm thinking of doing is releasing an episode once every 2 weeks instead of 1 week. The reason why I'm changing it to 2 weeks is so that I have more time to gather enough material to have topics to talk about. Because I think, because me and Steven, we both have, as good as our friendship is, we both have slightly different levels of interest in certain stuff.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in today's news and like things happening in pop culture. Meanwhile, Steven, either right here or here, I don't know which way it's going to be, but he could care less about that. So
it's not necessarily the fact that I'm not interested. It's just I don't really keep up as much with like what's going on. So like when Will tells me, "Oh yeah, Kanye West said X," then like I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool. I just had no idea." Because I don't look at stuff.
So we're gonna try to find things that we're both aware of and we both can talk about. So that's kind of where that's going to be.
I really enjoyed the philosophical questions that you asked, like, what is the plausibility of ducks taking over the Earth? Is gravity relevant?
Yes. So, and I will start out with one of those kind of one of those modern issues that's coming up due to, the way that content creation is becoming and how everything is shorts based, like whether it be YouTube shorts or TikTok. That's kind of going to be my main the main thing I'm going to talk about first. So before we begin, I'm going to take a sip of water, as I usually do.
As he usually does.
All right, so Steven.
Yes.
Is it accurate for me to say that you're not much of a TikTok person, nor are you a YouTube Shorts type of person?
I think yes and no, because I don't have TikTok. I have never had TikTok and probably will never have TikTok. I've seen video clips that came from TikTok and have been brought over to other platforms, but I personally don't use the app itself. I do watch YouTube Shorts on occasion. I know that what shorts you get is based on the YouTube algorithm and what YouTube thinks that you'll like based on what you watch. So sometimes there's some pretty cool stuff in there. There are also YouTube shorts that have come over from TikTok. So I guess in an indirect way you could say I also do or have watched TikToks, but not deliberately. But YouTube shorts and TikToks are kind of the same thing. In terms of me not really being a guy for them, I watch them occasionally. It's not really my main thing, but it's a thing that I do if I have 2 hours where I'm doing nothing and I just want to fill that time with something.
Right. So the main thing that I want to talk about is an issue that's always kind of been a thing, but over the years it's just kind of progressively gotten worse and worse, and that's attention span.
Yes, and people like to talk about it a lot with Gen Z.
Yeah.
Being like people will make memes about Gen Z all the time and Gen Z's attention span. I remember Will showing me a joke video a couple weeks ago before I left for my own career in college. He showed me a video of a person who is in like a Gen Z kind of age, like kind of our age, basically getting fired from a job, and so the employer is sitting at a desk and he's like telling the guy, "You're fired," and the guy goes, "I don't get it." And then the guy says, "Hold on, wait." He pulls up a laptop and he pulls up a video of Subway Surfers, which is one of the clips that always gets memed on a lot. Like people like to put Subway Surfers over their content. And he shows the Subway Surfers and says, "You're fired." And the guy goes, "Oh."
Yes.
It was hilarious, honestly.
I forgot who made that, but whoever made that, shout out to you. That's not much of a credit because I don't remember what the guy's name is.
Yeah, well, so, I was just showed the video, so I have no idea where it came from, but it was funny. So shout out to the guy who made it.
Shout out to the people who are funny. Shout out to y'all.
Not us, obviously.
But basically, basically, one thing that I've caught myself doing is over time I've caught myself watching YouTube shorts more and more and more, and it's got to the point where I'll lay down and I'll watch them, and then before I know it, a huge chunk of time has passed without me knowing it.
And I do that too, especially like at night. Like if I'm like going to bed, right, I'll like lay in the bed, and instead of like going to sleep, I'll just be watching YouTube shorts, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just watch like a few, and it's been like 5 minutes, and then like 2 hours later I'm still sitting there watching them. And I think that experience kind of gives anybody who's had that experience can see why this short form content market has been so successful. That's exactly why.
And one other thing that I want to bring up about TikTok is regarding the issue of lower attention spans and how people need to consume content while having something else in front of them, like whether it be Subway Surfers or whether it be like Counter-Strike parkour, the ones where they'll just like jumping across obstacles and they'll like have that sliding knife.
I see a lot of Minecraft parkour as well.
Yeah, Minecraft parkour and like GTA, like the car going down a slide or something. And there's a bunch of subtitles, like every few seconds there's like a subtitle. They're all different
I
colors
always find it funny. I always find it funny with the subtitles as well. A lot of the times, like subtitles are great, especially if it's like difficult to understand what the person's saying. I don't think they're really necessary, but like I'm not gonna diss on subtitles as much as I would diss on background video. But a lot of the times, what happens with the subtitles is they're not actually accurate to what the person's actually saying.
Yeah, I think there's like a program or like a app out there that like. You don't even have to add the subtitles yourself manually. There's like one that's like text to speech in a sense.
Yeah, like
kind of like how the YouTube captions work, like the auto-generated one.
Yeah,
it's kind of working like that. But the thing is, if someone's speaking and they're not speaking clearly, then it can like produce like a mistranslation or like I don't know the word, like transcription.
Yeah.
It spells it wrong. It gets the wrong word. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It mistranscribes to it. That's what I was trying to say.
You finally got it.
I finally accomplished English. Are you proud of me, Mom?
We don't have the Riverside applause sound effects.
Yeah, nah. And by the way, speaking of that, I want to address this. In case you haven't noticed by now, the format looks different. And the reason why is because we have abandoned Riverside. Now, the reason why we've abandoned Riverside is because for the longest time, me and Steven, mainly me, because I'm the producer. He's just the unpaid
I'm just here.
intern.
I'm a content slave.
I would always use Riverside because it was convenient.
Yeah,
However,
I think
Riverside.
the main reason why we started with Riverside is because back in like the beginning when we sat down and we decided, hey, we want to make a podcast. The first thing that I think came to both of our minds was Spotify, and then Will did, you know, like some research and said, oh, hey, there's this program called Riverside that is made by Spotify, and we can use it to record our podcasts. And me and him, of course, being, you know, stupid children who don't know anything about anything, decided, yeah, that's a great idea.
However, we soon realized Riverside sucks. And we, after some convincing, because I was still in that denial stage where I was like, oh no, it'll get better, they'll improve it, maybe, potentially.
Yeah, the main issue with it...
But they never did.
Yeah, the main issue with it was there was, like, a huge delay. Like, I'm talking, like, you know, 5 seconds or more delay between when one person says something and it actually making it over the internet to the other person's screen. And so, like, obviously there's always going to be some form of delay when you're talking over the internet, but Riverside's delay was just so bad.
Yeah, we were completely out of sync. Like, Steven would tell a joke and be like...
And then Will would laugh, like, 5 seconds later.
Yeah, exactly like that. It'd be so long between reaction time. You'd think we would still, like, slow mentally.
It would also happen when anybody asked a question, because Will would be like, hey, Steven, and then I'd just be like, yes.
Hey, Steven, what's 1 + 1? That's
2.
correct. Good job, Steven. Yeah, it's exactly like that. So, instead of Riverside, we're just recording on Discord, which we should have been doing from the very start. I don't know why we never just did this instead.
I don't know, because
easier.
Will expressed concern about Discord not being a good way to record. Literally, all I've done is I've popped out the call window in Discord on PC. There's an option to pop out the call, and then I used the option that makes everybody in the call show rather than just the person who's talking. And then I put the window up and I moved my mouse off of it so that you can't see the like the mute and disconnect options at the bottom. And what's left is what you see here. And if you look at the very top, you can even see the bar at the top that says Discord on it.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing instead. So, yeah. And I'm going to do my best in post-production to add our logo, maybe make it look a little nicer. Try to figure something out, you know?
Something.
So, yeah. That's that. Alright. Let me finish this one water bottle right here and we can move on. Alright, so let's take some time right now to really focus on Steven. I want to focus on Steven in this segment.
Please. One at a time, please.
And I want to ask you, how's college life? Because as you know, last year was my freshman year, and I was experiencing college for the first time. However, when we started, I was already like deep into college, like freshman year, so I already was accustomed to it in some capacity. But right now, as of recording this, I assume Steven has started classes. Is that right?
Yeah, we started last Wednesday. So yeah, the 16th. Last Wednesday, 16th.
Yeah.
So it's about a week ago.
So let's go ahead and talk to Steven and have Steven tell us how's that been like. Let's hear here first, folks, type of deal right here. A newly wedded freshman.
Newly wedded.
to the thing of college. That's the analogy I'm going with. And yeah, tell us how's college.
Yes.
I want to answer. Like a natural answer.
Well, see, the thing about me with college is when I made my class schedule, I made like a super easy class schedule. So I only have 2 classes each day, plus like, for those of you who didn't know, I think we probably discussed this on the podcast before, but for those of you who didn't know, the field that I'm studying is aviation, which is basically just flying planes. I'm gonna be the guy who goes and flies the airplanes around. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Because we all trust this man to fly our planes, right, guys?
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
As long as you were born after 2001, you don't have anything to worry about. That was a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
Hey, employers, he's taking light of 9/11.
For any future employer that looks this up, I want to say for the record that I am not a terrorist.
And you can also disregard our first episode with
Yes.
literally had terrorism in the title.
Yes, you can completely disregard that episode.
Disregard it.
Anyway.
Matter of fact, you might as well just disregard his entire online presence, because it's probably going to do you no favors.
I'm never going to get a job at the airlines at this point. Right. So anyway, that's the field that I'm studying. So, for those of you who don't know, the aviation, like, the industry in general is regulated by a government agency known as the FAA, which stands for Federal Aviation Administration. So basically, those guys are yes. So basically, those guys are the guys who make all the rules for flying, and they make the rules based on like the kind of training that you have to have. So I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this have probably gotten a driver's license before. So think about, doing that. You read a book, you go take a test, you get your permit, you go take another test that lasts like 10 minutes, you get your license. They'll give a license to just about anyone. That's not the case for the FAA. It follows the same format. You have to, do some studying, and then you take a test, and then you go and you get in a plane with someone and you take another test. The difference is that the amount of stuff that you have to know and the amount of stuff that you have to know how to do is a lot more. I'm not going to go into details because it would take like a very long time to explain all of it. But just know that there's a lot of stuff that you have to go through, and there's very specific requirements that the FAA gives on, like, the amount of hours that you have to spend training and, like, what kind of stuff you have to cover. So because of that, you have to go and get training in order to be a pilot, basically. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. To be a pilot, you have to go get training. So when you're in an aviation program at a college like I am, your training basically comes in the form of a class. And so that's one of the classes that I'm doing. So in terms of like actual classes that you go in, like, anybody who's gone to college or is going to college, you think about, going and sitting in a lecture hall and listening to a boring old man talk for an hour.
Yes, old man. Old man in particular. Every professor is just an old man.
A lot of them are quite aged, and the reason for that being, more aged people tend to have more experience and be more knowledgeable in their field, so they're more qualified to be a professor.
Wow, how modest of you to call them well-aged. You might as well just call them old.
All you professors are old.
Just a bunch of hacks, old hacks.
And to my college professor who somehow found this video and is now about to fail me from the class, don't, please.
Everything is never satire. We mean everything we say.
Well, this is not helping my image.
Okay.
Anyway, so in terms of those types of classes, I only have 4 of them. 2 per day. And then there's the extra class that I have, which is all the training stuff that I just spent way too long trying to explain. So, yeah, technically I have 5 classes, but one of them is not an actual class, so there's, yeah.
Now, as for as for general studies, are there any that you're like taking, whether it be like English, math, science, whatever?
So here's the thing. I did this really cool thing when I was in high school called dual enrollment. You've probably heard of that before. It's where you take.
Oh, you're one of those students, huh?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Life?
What do you mean by that?
You think you can just be smart and like not have to do general study things in college and leave dumb students like me having to do them in college?
I think Will is salty about having to take classes in college.
And I think I found my new title. Will gets angry at Steven for being smarter than him.
So the thing about here's the thing about dual enrollment. Like people like I mean, Will kind of gave a good description of it, but, you know, basically it's just taking college classes while you're in high school. You're still taking a college class. You're just not in college. The class is still college level, and it's usually technically supposed to be the same, like, you know, difficulty as it would be if you were actually going to college. A lot of the times that's not actually the case. I took all my dual enrollment classes online, so they were pretty easy. But
wow.
But they're college classes.
Just flex that knowledge on us while you're at it.
The Pythagorean theorem is...
You know all this smart stuff, and yet you don't know what Scooby-Doo is.
I know what it is. I just never watched it.
What is this? I don't get it.
Anyway, so the thing about dual enrollment, I took college classes while I was in high school. I got credit for them. Basically, that means they say, okay, yeah, we see that you took this class. You don't have to take it here. So I did that for my English and for my math, the calculus that I have to have. So I don't have to take any English or math while I'm in college.
Just imagine me clapping.
So yeah, in terms of general studies, I do still have like some general classes that I have to take. The ones I'm taking this semester is microeconomics and technology and civilization, which is basically just a fancier world history.
All right. All right. So outside of classes, outside of all that flying, outside of all those Twin Towers, I mean, what?
So what did we talk? We talked about this.
I cut myself off, so it's fine. Anyways, nothing bad can possibly happen now.
Will, ruining Steven's employment opportunities since 2023.
Yes. That might be the title, actually. Will ruin Steven's chance of getting a job.
I'm gonna be
controversial.
I'm gonna be serving burgers in a McDonald's for my entire life.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well come to Wendy's with me. If I end up becoming unemployed because of what I'm saying, and it gets me kicked off of any potential job I could be doing in cameraman work or anything else.
They think that what they're gonna think is that I'm gonna crash a plane and you're gonna be there filming it.
Yes. Alright. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Just another quick disclaimer, just to make sure everybody's aware, everything that we say on this channel is satire and joking, and none of this is serious, okay?
We're just trying to make people laugh with our comedy. That's just what we're here for.
We'll try our best, even if we fail miserably.
So, Steven, what I was trying to ask you earlier before I got off track. So, outside of your classes and outside of all that, how is college life? How is the campus? We're not going to say unless you want to say where you live.
I mean, to be fair,
how's college life?
The college where I'm going to is, and I'll just go ahead and say it because I don't care, I am going to Auburn University. And Will absolutely loves it.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
How dare! And I'm gonna put on my filter for this. How dare
do you go to Auburn when you could have gone right to Alabama?
Well, okay, listen. There's a very good reason for this, okay? Auburn is the only school in Alabama that has an aviation program. So if
is that so? Is that so?
so
young man?
you
Is
tell
that the
you tell
case?
your Alabama school that if they want me, they should have just thought about that before they decided not to have an aviation school. Take that, Alabama.
Excuses, as always.
Hey, I'm just trying to make money, man.
All right. So outside of that, how's college life?
It's honestly not all that different from normal life. Outside of going to classes, I wake up.
You're not homeschooled anymore. You're now surrounded by people. How does that make you feel?
I'm not surrounded by people.
But like going to classes and
Oh well, yeah. I mean, well, what you have to realize about me is that I was homeschooled for most of my middle school and high school career, but I did go to public school before. Like I'm familiar with it. I know what it's like.
But like jumping back into it after so long.
Well, I can tell you right now that college is not like your typical, normal school. Because, like, at normal school, you're kind of in the same building and you just kind of go between rooms and you're always with the same class most of the time. Because you'll have, like, in school they usually put you with a class and then that's just your class and you kind of do everything. I know it's somewhat different in high school because you have, like, high school is when you start getting the option to take different classes and you can say like, oh yeah, I want to have this class and this class. But like for elementary and middle school where everything is just kind of grouped into one, you're kind of with the same class and then you walk around to school.
I'm gonna stop you right there and say that as someone who's actually been to public school, in middle school they kind of stop that and you kind of get like a different set of kids in each class. So middle school is kind of where that stops.
Back when
my middle school stopped that.
Most of my public school experience was in elementary school, so yeah.
Well, now you know.
I never got to experience like public middle school or high school. I know people talk a lot about that and how like elementary school doesn't count as public school. But the format is the same. I mean, probably
who said that? Wait, wait. Who's ever said that elementary school doesn't count as public school?
A couple of my coworkers used to say it because they like to joke about me being homeschooled. And like I say like, oh yeah, I used to go to public school back when I was in elementary school, and they're like, oh yeah, that doesn't count. You never got to feel what it was like in middle school or high school going to public school. And like,
okay, I think what they're referring to is just like the culture.
Yeah, the culture. That's what I was gonna say. I know the culture's different because middle schoolers and high schoolers are just a different breed than elementary school.
Yeah.
You always hear about like the memes about or the stereotypes about like the school bully and the quiet kid and the smart kid and the teacher's pet, and there's always somebody who gets into a fight and you miss school for one day and Rick Astley performed in the cafeteria and all of that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is what I was really saying like doesn't happen in college, because in college
you never really got like all that stuff in middle school and high school you never really got to experience, right?
Yeah, because it was at that point around that time that I started being homeschooled, and I don't regret anything. I enjoyed being homeschooled because it was a lot easier for me because I happen to be something called an introvert, which means that I'm not.
Oh, is that so? Is that so? We spend all our time on the internet, and now all of a sudden you want to say you're an introvert.
Well, I mean, why do you think that I'm sitting here in my apartment talking to this man through a screen rather than out socializing?
Well, to be fair, I'm a weird kind of case because I don't see myself as an introvert or extrovert. There's this kind of middle ground called ambivert that I think I fall into, where you're kind of an introvert, but you're also kind of an extrovert.
Yeah, for me though,
I feel kind of in the middle, like ambivert.
Yeah. For me though, I would consider myself an introvert because I just don't really enjoy social interaction that much unless it's with people that I, am very familiar with. Like Will. I know Will. I know Will's never going to give me up. He's never going to let me down. He's never going to turn around or desert me.
Turn around and serve you. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna run around and desert you. We just break out into a musical.
Ha, get rickrolled. Anyway, the point being that I know Will, so that's why I'm talking to him. Like, people that I know, I'll talk to and I'll do stuff with. But I'm not just gonna go up to any random person on the street and, like, ask them how their day's been. Even though that's a totally normal thing to do, that's not something that I would do.
But with that said, though, one thing I would generally advise is take this opportunity to make as many friends as you can. And I know that's much easier said than done.
Yeah, that's what they all say. That's what everybody's been telling me. Make all the friends you can. You only get this experience once. You gotta live the best of it. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's a requirement, but I would say that's something I wish I did a little more back in my freshman year. Like sophomore year, I'm trying to be a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more socializing. And I feel, let me tell you something. I'm not going to go into detail, but I feel a lot happier this year than I did last year. Because the thing with last year is I was like in a new environment and I wasn't sure how to handle it. And my mental state just kind of went all over the place. So that's kind of like a entirely different story. But
the more you know.
Being, and that's kind of what led to us stopping 4 months ago, because I was just kind of like in a bad place mentally, and college was packing on like a bunch of school work for me to do, and we ran out of ideas. So it was just kind of like a combination of bad things.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember it as a combination
nowadays,
of Will being in college and us just not really having any meaningful topics to talk about. Because he said the main problem of it was the fact that we were doing it every week, and when we were doing it every week, there's not always a lot of stuff to talk about, and he was just having trouble coming up with engaging topics, and so that's why we decided to not to make it not be an every week thing anymore.
Yeah, and I think that'll help us when it comes to like having every episode feel fresh, having every episode be packed with content. And now that we've been gone for a few months, we're back in it. We have a lot more, I'd like to say we're a lot more excited to be here. Like, because after a while last time, because of the fact that we were doing it every week, it just felt more like obligation.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have to go record a podcast. Ugh.
Yeah. But now that Steven's work schedule, back when he used to work at Publix.
Yeah, I only had like a couple days during the week when I could record, if I was lucky. Because sometimes they would schedule me for a lot of days, and they would have my scheduling be, and also I was doing like flying lessons not at college back then, but I was doing flying lessons at that too, and then I had like schoolwork and stuff that I had to do, because even though I was homeschooled, I did still have schoolwork. Yes. So that combined with flying and then having a work schedule, I was very limited on when I could record. Now I have a fairly open schedule. I do have classes every day, but they're all in the morning, and like afternoons and evenings are just completely open for me every single day. And that's probably going to change once I get another job. I actually did end up leaving my my job at Publix because I moved.
Right.
But once
as right now, go ahead.
Yeah, once I get another job, that might change a little bit, but it's probably I'm still probably gonna have a pretty decent amount of availability, just because like there won't be as much to worry about.
Yeah. So so that's your college experience. you're mainly gonna keep to yourself and just kind of stay in your room, do your own little thing, just go to class, all that.
Yeah. That's kind of my style of doing things. I don't really interact with people that much. I'm not the kind of person who, like, hits up all the homies in class and, asks them for stuff. I just kind of survive on my own.
You know what you could do, though? If you do end up talking to anyone in class, mention about this podcast. We need to keep
we need publicity. That college campus is one of the best places to advertise, because if you tell one, there's like so many people around you who are just like you because they're the same age, they're going to the same college. Depending on what class you're in, they might even be like in or close to your field that you're studying, and then you tell one of those people about something, and they might go tell their friends, and then that person might tell their friends, and then you tell another person, and that person goes tells their friends, and it just kind of branches out and creates like a web of a bunch of people who know about this thing.
You're basically describing a pyramid scheme. Like, if I get this friend to tell their friends, and those friends to tell their friends, and their friends to tell their friends, and their friends to tell those friends.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how advertising works. That's how publicity starts, and that's how like things that get advertised, like a podcast or something like that. That's how those things get off the ground. So that people tell their friends, and then those people tell their friends. I mean, it does sound like a pyramid scheme, but that's how it works.
But I was just mentioning how funny that was. Like, we're creating, that might be the new title. I'm just coming up with titles as we go along, just like.
And somehow all of the titles have been so incriminating that they may affect my ability to get a job in the future.
Yes. So yeah.
They're watching this episode. They're thinking, "Oh man, this guy's a terrorist. He's gonna be part of a pyramid scheme. He shot and killed a man."
All right, and for our next topic, let's go over what we did over the summer, including the mass shooting, the drug dealing, the drug trafficking. Let's just go over all of it. Why don't we, Steven?
Yeah, so, it was really fun. It made us a lot of money. You may have noticed that I haven't talked about the fact that I'm a broke college student, because I'm just a college student. I happen to not be broke, and I'm not going to go into specifics on the reasoning behind that, but I have money, yeah.
All right, employers, are you canceling him from all your future employed jobs now? I worry that so terribly. That's another thing about me that's never going to change. The fact that I'm bad at communicating. Well, not bad at communicating, just bad at speaking. Because once I start speaking... Are you
bad at speaking? Then public speaking is for you.
It's just, I'll go on a topic, and I'll stutter, and I'll try to get the words out, and if I start talking too fast, my mind's not going to be able to keep up, right?
My apologies for whatever noises you just heard. That would be my microphone falling over.
I didn't hear anything, but now that you mentioned it, I'm now going to know, and everyone's going to be going back to hear it. You could have said nothing, and no one would have noticed.
Probably Discord clipped the audio, and honestly, the microphone may have clipped the audio as well, but the audio meter on OBS that I'm looking at just spiked out of the stratosphere, so something must have happened.
Who knows? Who knows? All right. All right, so I'm going to end it with one other topic. It's not going to be a major one. Next episode, I want to focus on another major topic that I was considering.
This episode was all about me.
Me. We're selfish here. We're here talking about ourselves.
We're very self-centered.
Yeah. That's why you should subscribe to our channels, like the video, share with your friends, and teach them how they can be self-centered too.
Because caring about others is for losers. Remember that, kids.
Losers. Yes. I mean, that's what all YouTubers are submit. I can't say it again. The subtly subliminal messages to the audience to be like that. We might as well be open about it. After enough people listen to me talk for long enough, struggling to get words out, they're gonna start struggling to get words out. And if that happens to you, you're welcome.
We're going to create a generation of people who are unable to communicate. I mean, I think the world has already kind of done that for us, but you know, we're gonna make it better.
You're welcome, America. You're welcome. All right, so basically, what I just want to go over is I know that you didn't go on this, but I went on a beach trip.
Oh
over the summer.
yeah, I remember that. I made the active before anyone says anything. I made the active decision not to go. Okay, it wasn't that I wasn't allowed. It wasn't that they said I couldn't. I said I do not want to go on the trip. Okay, because I don't like the beach for reasons that I'm not going to get into here.
He hates the outdoors. He's never touched grass.
That is 100% accurate.
He's just an online gremlin at this point.
Just think of the what is it? The picture of that cartoon show where the guy's like, you know, fat and has like the chin hair and he's sitting in front of a gaming console.
Gumball, the clip where Gumball is just like a Redditor mod.
Yeah,
like
think of your most stereotypical Discord mod image, and that's basically me.
Yeah.
I'm not a Discord mod, but I basically am the same kind of way.
Yeah, you're the same kind of terminally online.
Yes.
Which is a message we should also teach our kids.
Computers are the future, so get used to it.
Sword Art Online will be a reality. We will all plug in our VR sets and just live in the metaverse.
Just go read the book Ready Player One. That's our future.
Yes. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up this vacation because I just wanted to bring up how while I was there, everyone wanted me to find me a wife while I was there. And that got me thinking about wanting to actually like find someone to have a relationship with, because for the longest time I've just kind of stayed single. But I was just thinking about how cool it'd be to actually, like, be in a relationship once again.
Lucky you.
Like,
I have never thought about that. The thing about me is I'm single, and I have never really seeked out a relationship. I've never really had a desire to be in a relationship. Being extremely on one side of the introverted, extroverted scale will do that to you. I think that what it is like the overall desire to not interact with people just kind of spills over and says, oh yeah, well, you know, having a relationship with someone involves interacting with people. I don't want to do that. I'm a Discord mod. I can't have a girlfriend.
Well, that's kind of a dangerous territory there, because if you're a true Discord mod, you're going to be preying on underage girls.
Hey, listen. We don't need to give we don't need to give the employers any more reason to
Yes. On top of being a terrorist, you're also a pedophile.
He's a terrorist, a drug dealer, a mass murderer, and a pedophile.
What hasn't he done?
What more do you want? Do you need any more reason not to hire me?
But yeah, if I do end up advertising this to like all my college campus, I'm just gonna put this out here as a clip.
He's got the riz.
Oh my. Shut up. No, don't call. Hold on, be like, for all my college ladies out there who are also in Jacksonville, just know I'll be around. I'm single, ready to mingle.
Oh yeah.
After I said that, my chances of getting a girlfriend just went 0. It was probably.
I will say, I don't mean to be offensive like this, and I want to point out before I say anything, everything that I'm about to say to you is entirely in good fun, and I don't
I'm
mean
already insulted.
I
Too
don't
late.
mean for any of you to I don't mean for any of it to be taken seriously. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
So I made the joke about me basically, being kind of representative of the stereotypical fat guy with chin hair sitting in front of a computer screen with chips all over the place. It's your stereotypical image of a Discord mod. I made a joke about being that kind of person. The thing about Will is that he kind of has the actual physical appearance of that person. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not trying to say that that's what you're like. I'm just saying that there is a resemblance.
No! No!
This is why I had to make the disclaimer that I was not trying to insult you.
It's just water weight, I promise.
It's just water weight. Okay. I wasn't trying to go that far. I wasn't going to say you're fat.
No, look, you're right. But you know what? It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like as long as I avoid the characteristics of a Redditor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then
like your personality is fine. Like you're a great person. You're a fine person. I was just saying like the physical appearance can show some resemblance.
Yeah, just being like, mate. 13-year-olds.
What?
13-year-olds.
I will say what you did with like the neck there kind of just like solidified the image. Like look at this and tell me you don't see a Reddit Discord mod. That is such a convincing image.
If you look at it from the side, it's like kind of there, but like looking at it head on, it doesn't look that bad. But then
and then you do that.
Like this, that's when
when you do that, it makes you look like 30 years older, just from moving your head.
Just removing my neck more than anything.
Yeah, just moving. So there's the secret to young age, kids. Moving your neck 2 inches. Moving your neck 2 inches changes your age by 30 years.
Yes. Absolutely. Life hack right there.
Just move move your neck forward.
Alright, so that's about all we got for today. Like I said, this is kind of a transition for us trying to get back into the swing of things.
And since we have about 10 or about 13 minutes left, it's time for Will to make a choice. So, you have 2 options. We can convert this podcast into a business meeting so we can talk about future scheduling and stuff like that while we're on the air, or we can have our bi-weekly now Kanye segment.
Okay, you'd have to give me a minute because I didn't really think of anything for the Kanye segment.
It's a thing. We have to support the meme.
Alright, so here's the Kanye news. This has nothing to do with Kanye himself, but rather to do with me, because everything about this episode is just me.
Except for the parts that are about me.
I've been listening to a lot of Kanye West as of late. Despite how much we make fun of him, I like his music. I like his music. It's one of those things where you kind of have to separate art from the artist. But yeah. I've been listening to songs like Monster and Slow Jams and I Wonder. Those are some good songs I'm just throwing out there. Just being free promotion.
And I'm just,
we might as well just go ahead and say...
And I'm just nodding along.
I'm
just nodding along, acting like I know what every single one of these songs are.
We might as well just go ahead and say this podcast was sponsored by Kanye West.
Yes. Kanye
And all
West
of his
called
music.
us up. He was actually the one who convinced us to get the podcast going again. So he called up Will and said, you know, hey, I saw your podcast that is giving me like a bunch of free advertising. Would you mind, you know, getting back to doing that again? And then Will was like, oh, yeah, sure. And then he called me up and he was like, hey, so I just got a call from Kanye West and he says he wants us to do the podcast again. But I didn't tell you guys that because I wanted to save it for the Kanye segment.
And that's what we got the money from, not from any illegal activities.
Exactly. We
joking
were
earlier.
just sponsored.
All,
See?
all that money we made.
See?
All that money we made was from that sponsorship deal, just so you know.
This story does have a happy ending.
We still did bury a body, though. That still happened. We didn't
But-
do it for
but-
money, we
but-
just did it for fun.
No allegations are made as to who caused the body to not be alive anymore.
I feel like at this point we just have to once again say this is all joke. This is all
Yes,
satire.
yes. Disclaimer: we were not actually sponsored or compensated in any way by Kanye West. Please do not sue us.
If anyone's watching this thinking of hiring Steven to be a pilot, you should definitely hire him. He's a very good pilot. You should take my unbiased opinion on that.
As a matter of fact, I have a private pilot license right now, which I could show on camera, but I'm not going to because it has a bunch of information about me on it, and I'm not trying to dox myself.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just play the clip of the FBI breaking into the house.
Yeah. And on that note, thanks for watching. We'll be here every 2 weeks, not every week. So if you want weekly uploads, make your own podcast and fill in the blank for us. if you
As
want.
always, please like and subscribe for another episode of Whom To May Concern It.